Japan, and then I talk about some current activity and current programs and future perspective. Okay, now at present we have this is the slide in April this year. So now we have 9 global geopark and 33 Japanese geoparks. Anyway, the Japanese geopark activity activated quite rapidly. So, well, okay, yeah. They are too young, so young. Well, I talk about history. So, our activity in Japan to promote geopark started in academic side. So, Geological Society of Japan initiated the activity. As Nicholas mentioned, so EGN established in 2000 and GGN established in 2004. At that time, almost no Japanese knows about geoparks. And Geological Society noticed all geopark activities happening in 2005. And Geological Society of Japan established one committee to promote geopark. And at that time, I was nominated as a secretary of that committee. Well, there is no reason, because my boss wanted to promote geopark, so he said to me, okay, this is your job. So I didn't know about Geopark at all at that time, to be honest. But I participated in the second GGN conference in Belfast. At that time, 4 geologists from Geological Survey of Japan participated. And that photo is the keynote speech at that time by and we learned a lot, and then I understand what Geopark is at that time. So our real start was 2007. But at that time, the situation is was not so favorable for us. At that time, Japanese network was very negative to Japan. Its history totally changed. Because Japan was against Geopark in General Conference of UNESCO in 1998, and also Japan was against Geopark in Executive Board of UNESCO in 2001 because of financial reasons. So Japan tried to improve the financial situation in UNESCO, so they were against almost all new projects at that time. But so I went around many ministries and explained what Geopark is, etc. And Ministry of Environment reacted very positive manner. They like Geopark concept, but they said, well, we can't be governing ministry because it will be UNESCO program, so it's not our job, they said. And Geological Survey of Japan is under Ministry of Economy, Trading and Industry, and they liked Geopark. But they also said, well, it's good project, but please do it with other ministries. It's not our responsibility. Maybe similar thing is happening in your country. Yeah? Every country government is government. But our Director General of Geological Survey is very positive, so they supported. He supported me and gave me very small amount of budget and gave me no staff. But I love Geopark, so I continued to work. So my colleague and I decided to go with the local government and professors and Geological Survey of Japan in NGO style, because we couldn't expect strong support from the central government, so we decided to do with local government. It's just a practical point of view. So I will explain later, but there is some social situation in Japan helped me to promote Geopark with local government. So some of the local government reacted surprisingly quickly. The photo showed the kind of committee to promote Geopark, whose its members are local government mayors and also Geological Survey of Japan staff. And this committee was established in 2007 by the strong push from the local government. Well, I'll explain the social background for the strong reaction from the local government to Geopark. As Patrick already mentioned, we Japanese are living in very dangerous islands. By the way, so please don't be worried. This island are very safe island because it's far enough from the plate boundary, and as long as our geologists say there's no active fault around here. And this island is volcanic island, but almost all the volcanic activity finished until about 5 million years ago. So, please don't worry. I believe so. Professor Nakata will know more about it. Yeah.
1 million years ago.
There was an eruption 1 million years ago. Okay. Well, under such situation, actually, the people's knowledge to geohazard was not enough, and still is not enough. So it's a good reason to promote Geopark from the academic side. Another background is economy. So big cities are very rich, but in Japan, rural economies declining have been declining in recent 20 years. So economic gap between urban and rural areas increasing, and that economical situation, under that economical situation, the vitality of local community has been lost. This is a strong motivation for local leaders to promote Geopark. And another background is national parks and museums. So we have 29 national parks, and most of them include geological landscape. So seaside cliffs and volcanoes, beautiful mountains, all are geological things. We have 221 natural monuments related to geoscience. And also we have more than 40 museums which are curated related to geoscience. But the problem was this infrastructure was not utilized for economical development of local areas. For example, our national park has excellent staffs, but even at present, no geologist is there. So now, national park depends on geologists in Geopark about the geological information. Well, so under such situation, as I said, local leaders reacted very rapidly, so we started. We established Japan Geopark Committee, JGC, in 2008. It was just an NGO. So, well, at that time, relevant ministry didn't say no, okay, that's enough. NATCOM agreed that they recognize JGC as a specialist group to evaluate candidates to GJ. Okay. Yeah, I wanted them to authorize the committee, but recognize was enough to do something.
Can I interrupt?
Yep.
So, how can you move from GSJ to be part of the NGO? Because you are part of the government.
Well, very good question. Well, please see salary. Behind the scene, the chief for geology in Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry negotiated with the relevant ministry not to disturb this NGO's activity. Well, he's a very strong supporter for us, and he was one of the system, but he supported us, how to say, kind of support outside the system. And he negotiated with, to approve this system for another ministry. So that was the reason. So this is a very exceptional system under Japanese administrative system. And after JGC was established, then JGN, we established JGN, Japanese Geographic Network. That was also NGO, and it's supported by it was supported by municipalities. So both had not been official body. Thus, almost no financial support from the central government till 2015. As you know, the situation has changed in 2015. The Geopark became official program of UNESCO. So after that, JGN received some subsidiary from NATCOM, and JGN ran JGC. Well, this is the brief history of the promotion of Japanese geoparks. Well, so we created Japan JGC, but actually no member of the JGC had experience to evaluate geoparks. It was a very difficult problem. But we had, and we still have, good teachers. Teachers are here. Through the discussion with evaluators to aspiring geoparks in Japan, so JGC member like Nagada-san and I learned up-to-date concept of geoparks. So at the beginning, Japanese geoparks have been rather geological than true geopark. That we learned and we enjoyed. And the important thing is that to participate meeting of GGN, EGN, APGN. And I don't know. So upper photo is the photo in Itoigawa, the first evaluation for GGN in Japan. And yes, we had strong support from Patrick and Nicholas. And lower photo is the social conference in Tel Aviv. I don't know. No?
It's in Lesbos.
Ah, this is in Lesbos. Oh, okay. Lesbos.
It's the
2000
European Geoparks
Indian meeting. Okay, yeah. So through participation in such kind of meeting, we learn what Geopark is. So I think this is the process you will need. So through such process, Japanese Geoparks activity is now very active. And framework, I will explain the framework of Japanese Geoparks. So as you easily notice from the my historical explanation, most of the geoparks in Japan are managed by local, so municipality, places, towns, prefectures. Japanese administration system is 3 layers. So central government, prefecture, then municipality like cities, towns, villages. So usually prefecture and cities or towns, municipalities cooperatively promote geoparks, and financial source is usually prefectures or municipalities. And they get some subsidies from central government ad hoc basis. And still, geopark doesn't have legal status in Japan, like national park or national monument. But it was, how to say, kind of de facto standard. Yeah. It already exists and it runs very well. So society recognizes kind of social, one part of the social system. And maybe this kind of thing will be explained by Dr. Nakada. We have national and global geoparks. So what is the difference? This is not actually, how to say, real state. It's ideal state, but ideal state. So national geoparks don't always have geo-heritage of international significance and don't always prepare for foreign visitors and don't always have English-speaking staff, but national geoparks must have proper management body like global geopark and also conserve geo-heritage properly and have good educational program and conduct attractive geotourism. Well, to this ideal state, we are struggling to improve the level of national geoparks. To be honest, some of the national geoparks in Japan is not doesn't have good activities, and some of your countries planning to establish national geopark system, but I think it has good and bad, merit and benefit. So the good point is, if you increase number of the geopark, number is power. It's definitely true. So it helps establish strong national network and it can get a basis for promotion. And you can prepare the activity during the other national geoparks, so you can more easily to prepare for UNESCO Global Geoparks application. And if you have more number of the geoparks than only you have global geoparks, so you can easily enhance conservation of geoheritage. But there are many demerits. So national geopark system may diminish brand value of UNESCO Global Geopark and also may damage motivation to international networking because they may be satisfied with national level networking, so that may damage motivation. And well, this is my real feeling. It creates more and more jobs. National Committee for Geopark. So national geopark system needs more human resources. So I think national geopark system seems to work well in countries which have many population, which have many geologists or other kind of specialists. So I think if you'd like to introduce this system, I recommend to consider very carefully. Well, I'll move to present activity of Japanese geoparks. Now, networking in national level in Japan is very active, but to be honest, it was kind of challenge in Japanese society because Japanese society is more authoritarian society and very formal. So relationship like networking is not common in Japanese society until recently. So there was mental barrier for traditional feeling of Japanese. But during the student activity under JGN, GGN, and GN, so more and more people noticed networking is good, and networking is good for creating some new kind of things. So now networking activity in Japan is more and more active recently. Okay. So this is the photo of national level networking. And recently, JGN started cooperate with international level. So last year, JGN had a workshop in Saturn UNESCO Global Geopark. At that time, it was aspiring Geopark. Now it's UNESCO Global Geopark in Thailand. It was supported by NatCom of Japan. We held a workshop there. And now, so exchange of people between Chinese Geopark or Korean Geopark or Geopark in Southeast Asia is more and more frequent. So based on the national Geopark activity, now our networking is growing more wider level. Well, from now, I will explain present activity of Japanese Geoparks. 3 examples. Well, first one is Itoigawa Geopark. In this Geopark, educational activity is very active. So this shows the number of the lecture on demand in the local community. The data is a little bit old, but they held this kind of lecture in local community sometimes more than 100 times a year. So this kind of lifelong education is very active in this Geopark. And also in school, they edited special text to learn about Geopark. And then they held a field excursion in the school for local school. And utilizing this kind of know-how, they are selling a program of educational tourism. So this is very good for local economy. Another example is Sannin Kaigan Global Geopark. Yeah, this is the nearest Geopark from here. And in this Geopark, so nature activity or outdoor activity is now very active. So this graph shows the number of the participants to geokayaking activity. So every year, more and more people participate in geokayaking. So provide this geokayaking activity provide new employment for younger people. This is very good result of the Geopark. Another activity, small boat tours. And this one is a local traditional. I'm not sure, but this activity is also very popular. And one of the association organization run by young people conducts lava trekking or other kind of nature trekking. This is also getting more and more popularity in the Geopark. Another example is Muroto UNESCO Geopark. In this Geopark, there is one guide association. It was established in 2009, and Geopark is designated as a global Geopark in 2011. So this guide group is now leading organization in the Muroto Global Geopark. Majority of members is housewives or retired men, but now more younger people participate because its activity is well known. This is the number of the participants guided by this organization. And they have kind of a cafe when the local festival is held, and they do some more activities other than guided tours. So this is a very good example of community-based tourism. So, and the Ministry of Environment awarded them with the ecotourism special prize last year as a good practice of community-based tourism. So now younger local people are participating in the association recently, and also local people stimulated by the activity of the association established travel agency and try to conduct nature tour in Morocco. Okay, this is my summary. In many Japanese geoparks, including national geoparks, educational program is strong point. And involvement of local people in Japanese geoparks is quite active. But many geoparks are still struggling with creating new business by utilizing geoparks. Well, one of the reasons is many stakeholders in Geopark area still have dream of revenue by the mass tourism. So that's one of the reasons. And but new types of tourism is beginning, like in Sain-Taigan or Muroto, in some areas. Throughout the population, people stimulated by the Geopark project or Geopark concept. And I didn't talk about conservation. So conservation in Geopark is still largely rely on national park system or national monument system. So we need some more development in this area. And another problem is quality control of national geoparks. And some of the older national geoparks still don't work. So we booked first red card to national geopark last year. So last year, number of the national geoparks decreased. Okay, this is my